Hey dudes, we're going to start off with simple algebra review, just doing some ratios and proportions, just to remember how to do that stuff before we get into chapter 8. So, quick review here. A ratio is just a fraction. Usually say something to something. It's a relationship between two numbers. You could write it, right? A ratio example would be like 1 to 4. Right? You might see ratios written like that a lot with the colon. The easiest way, the most helpful way to write them is as a fraction, 1 to 4. Okay, so that'd be a ratio. So we'll do a couple of examples on just how to create those for word problems. So you have to make a cake, and recipe A calls for 2 1/4 cups. That's supposed to be cups. Okay, cups of sugar, and recipe B calls for 1.5 cups of sugar. What's the ratio of cups of sugar for recipe A to recipe B? Okay, whatever this first comes on top of the ratio, and second is on bottom. All right, the 2 always indicates the fraction line. Okay, so we've got 2 1/4 over 1 1/2. Now that's fine, right? That's part of it, but that's not really good to have a mixed number over a mixed number. That's just way too complicated of a fraction. So in order to fix that, we need to turn them both into improper fractions. We've got 9/4 on top and 3/2 on bottom. All right, so this is dividing two fractions by each other. And we know that dividing fractions just means multiplying by the reciprocal. So that's the same thing as saying multiplying by 2/3, okay? Because those go away, and you just have this top to deal with. All right, so when you multiply by the reciprocal, we've got the 2 becomes a 1, 4 becomes a 2, 3 becomes a 1, and that becomes a 3. Make sense? Okay, so the answer to this would just be 3/2. All right. The second one, we have same type of thing. Okay, so Jocelyn worked 42 hours last week. Hannah worked 35 hours. What's the ratio of hours worked from Hannah to Jocelyn? Okay, remember Hannah first. 2 is the fraction line. Jocelyn, right? Hannah worked 35 hours. 2. Jocelyn worked 42. Right? You could simplify this if you can. You could take a 7 out of both of those, and the answer will be 5/6. That's about it for the ratios. Oops, that's not good. Okay, so quick, tiny review on distributive property. I think you guys all know this pretty well, but if you have to distribute something, if you have a number on the outside of a parentheses, you have to distribute that or multiply it to all the different numbers inside the parentheses. So distribute there, and then you have to do some distributing there and some distributing there. Okay, so I'll start with this first one. We've got 3 times 2x is 6x, plus 3 equals negative 12. You can continue to solve. We'll have 6x equals negative 15. X equals negative 15 over 6. Now, negative 15 over 6, it can be reduced. You can take a 3 out of both, and it'll be 5 over 2. So the answer is negative 5/2. And on the bottom one, okay, you have to do 2 distributing things going on here. One thing to notice here is you want to distribute the whole negative 2, right? Because you've got a negative or a minus in front of the 2. You want to distribute the whole negative 2, not just the 2. Yes, we'll start with this one. We've got 1/3 x plus 8/3 equals 10 minus 2x plus 2, because it's negative 2 times negative 1. All right, get all the x's to one side, get all the numbers to the other side, so we'll add 2x. We'll subtract 8/3. Okay, 2x's go away, those go away. We're left with 6/3 x plus 1/3 x is 7/3 x. Is equal to 10 plus 2 is 12. 12 minus 8/3. Okay, so that's going to be 36/3 minus 8/3. Put you at 28/3. All right, so now we have to divide both sides by 7/3, which is the same as we talked about. Dividing is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So multiply both sides by 3/7. Those go away, left with x. 3's go away, and x equals 28. That is it. Last thing we're going to review here really quickly is proportions. So a proportion is just an equation with ratios on both sides, right? The way you do this, the way you solve a proportion every time is by cross multiplying. You guys have seen this before. I know it. So what's cross multiply? Well, you multiply the diagonals. Okay, so we've got 5x equals 20 times 7, which is 140. Divide both sides by 5. And the answer is 28. Again. The other one, okay, same type of thing. All right, when you have a negative in one of these, all you have to do is pick have the negative go with one or the other, either the top or the bottom. Just pick one. All right. I don't want to distribute the negative with that x plus 3, so I'm going to have the negative go at the top, the 4. All right, then we cross multiply. So we'll have 7x, 7 times x plus 3 equals negative 4 times 14, which is going to be negative 56. Yeah, negative 56. All right, we have to distribute that 7, so we have 7x plus 21 equals negative 56. Subtract the 21. 7x equals negative 77. And so x will equal negative 11. Done. Good luck.